Hello, my beautiful fashionistas. You're welcome to Yvonne Winnie Frejuji. Today we are making this beautiful dress. It is a patched Bubu dress. In East Africa, we call them Deras. And if you want to learn how we made it, let us start the video. So these are the fabrics that I'm going to be working with. I have 3 patched fabrics, but you can use 5 or 10, whatever is at your disposal. And I used this because of the red color, the red and the black color that is in all of them, plus that kind of cream and white. And this is going to be my first piece, the top first piece, as you've already seen in the thumbnail. And guys, I have 3 according to the full length of the dress, so you can either divide them accordingly, or you can just do with whatever length that you want and according to how you want your Bubu dress to look like. So I'm using 3, as I've said. These two that you're seeing me pointing at according to the hip measurement plus the ease and the sewing allowance, but the last one has also the hemming allowance. Then the first one, guys, anyway, before that, I have both front and back pieces together. As you're seeing, it's folded for all my pieces. So let me put those away, and we are going to start with this one. This is going to be our first top piece. I've already marked a line. I've left half an inch at the top as the sewing allowance or the joining allowance, and even at its hem I've left the joining allowance. So you have to consider that. And this entire piece is about 18 inches in length or in depth. So I'm marking half of the shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches, and I'm also adding right on 9 inches for my sleeve length, and I'm going to add more 2 inches as the hemming allowance for this sleeve. So at that point I'm going down by 1 inch, but if it's a longer sleeve you can go down by 1.5 inches or even 2 inches. So I decided to consider just 1 inch, and I will join from that 1 inch into the neckline width, like that. So to join that line, I have to mark the neckline width. I'm using 3.5 inches for both the back and the front neckline width, and for the neckline depth, guys, I'm using 1.5 inches for the back, and I'm also going to use 7 inches for the front. So I'm going to connect like that to that point, as I said, and I'm going to curve for the back neckline for the back neckline, and I'm going to use a V-shaped for the front, like this. So now I'm going to connect from the neckline width, as I've said, to where the sleeve stops, like that. It is a slanted line. That is now our new shoulder, and right away, guys, I add the joining allowance of 1/2 inch along that shoulder measurement. So that is what we have. So for the sleeve opening that I want to use, I'm going to consider 9 inches, but I'm going to add 1 inch to make 10 inches. That 1 inch will be the sewing allowance. So I'm marking here 10 inches below our shoulder slant, like that, and that is that forms the chest line, or where our bust can be. So also, guys, for the hem, at the hemline of this piece, I consider the hip measurement, which is the largest measurement for this dress. My hip measurement is 48 inches. Dividing it by 4, I have 12. I added 1 inch as the sewing allowance and 2 inches as the ease allowance, and marked it towards where the sleeve stopped, and then marked kind of a square and then curved like this, just as you're seeing me. That curve is 2 inches by 1.5, and then cut that out simply as you see. Yes, if your bust measurement is the largest measurement, please consider that for the hem, at the hemline of this first part. But since the hip measurement was the largest, I consider the hip measurement plus 2 inches is allowance. You can add whatever you want, and then you add also the sewing allowance. So guys, what I wanted to consider for my front had some part that was not beautiful, so I decided to consider this other part for my front. So yeah, we can work with that. So now I'm going to bring my other pieces that are supposed to be joined onto this first piece and make sure that everything is just in line. So putting it like this, I think it's just enough for what I want to use. It is 15 inches, 12 inches, which is a quarter of the hip measurement that I worked with on fold, plus 1 inch sewing allowance, plus 2 inches, guys, for the ease allowance. You can increase your ease allowance, you can even decrease it, but make sure the dress will be fitting you as you're putting it on. So I went ahead and cut some facings. For the back, I think you've already seen I used a bias tape of the same fabric, and now for the front I'm cutting a facing that will be designed from inside out. We will sew it from inside, then flip it onto the right side as a design. You will be seeing it as we go on. So folded it into two, and I'm cutting away this part, and it will be on top like this after everything. So at the top here I have about 4 inches, and it goes on increasing as you go down. So according to your design, please just design this piece just the way you want. So for me, I measured about 6 inches from the neckline depth of the front going down, 6 inches plus the sewing allowance, and I marked it onto my facing and shaped the facing just the way I wanted. So I was just making sure that I have correct lines, correct straight lines here. So I cut off that excess, and here I also made sure that I mark straight lines, and considering also the half inch that we'll be using to top stitch onto the main fabric. So this is the front facing that I worked with. So I'll bring my front to start my sewing. I'll sew this facing inside out. So the right side will be facing the wrong side of the main fabric, the right side of the main face of the facing, guys, and then I'll flip it onto the right side as you see here, and make sure that you notch out all the corners or that curved or the V shaped, so that your facing lies very neatly like this. So at this point I've already finished ironing, and I've folded in half an inch along the facing, and I'll just be top stitching. So for the back, I just kind of finished it with the bias tape of the same fabric, and that is what we have. So putting right sides facing for my front and back, just as you see, I'm going to sew along the shoulder by half an inch. So align everything together from the neckline towards the sleeve area, and then sew by half an inch on either side like that. And after that, guys, I'll just hem my sleeve. Remember, we are folding 1 inch twice, and then top stitch on either side, or just sew along. So now after that, guys, I'll then join the other parts of the dress as I want them to be, back separately and also the front also separately for ease. So at this point I've already finished hemming my sleeve by double folding by 1 inch, and it looks so neat. I love the the sleeve looking a little bit, the hem of that sleeve looking a little bit, chubby, not folding by half an inch. That's why I folded by 1 inch. So guys, from the top, I'm going to measure about 17 inches and mark where I want my pockets to be. That is, if you want to add pockets. So I wanted that, and I'm going to mark that point. And by that, I think you've already seen I've already joined all the pieces front and back together. So for the pockets, guys, I have this piece that is on fold, and I'm marking about 7 inches in length and 8 inches in width, thereabout, and I'm just placing my fingers on top and then just shape out a pocket like this. There are various designs of pockets, so you can do whatever is easy to you. So that is what I did, and I made sure that I have also the sewing allowances. So you can use 7 together with this sewing allowance. So I'm separating it into 2, and I'm going to use these to cut more 2. So now I have 2 for each side, for both front and back. So now I'm going to show you where or how to place the pocket pieces. So guys, you have to make sure it is right side facing each other. Right side of the pocket is facing the right side of the main dress. So I think you remember that the folded part or the curved part of the pocket was down. So you have to consider that. If you don't, guys, when you're sewing your pockets together or when you're joining your front to the back, the pockets will not be aligning properly. So make sure that as you cut them is how you place them onto the dress. So I think you're seeing the curved part is what I placed, is what faces down, or is what is on the down part of the pocket. I think you're understanding what I mean, and you will be seeing it as you sew yours. So after the front pieces, I went ahead and also pinned down for the back pieces and prepared my dress ready for sewing, that is joining right back to the front. So I think you're seeing now the pockets are aligning. That means I pinned them down in the right way. So I'm going to be sewing starting from the sleeve. Remember, we left 1 inch, and I will sew around the pocket by half an inch, then continue down by 1 inch. But here I left 10 inches for the slit opening on either sides. So even on the other side, guys, the pockets are here, 2 of them. So I'll sew by 1 inch, then go around the pocket by half an inch, come back to my 1 inch here, and then go down, then also cut off the excesses, and then finish the slits, then hem the dress by double folding by 1 inch, and in no time, guys, the dress was finished. And this is the outcome. I love the fact that from leftover fabrics you can come up with a nice dress, like rich aunt vibes. Like, who doesn't want to look rich? And also, like, who doesn't want to be smart? So the pockets look like that, and they are ready. They are inseam pockets, very well finished, as you see. And that is how the entire dress looks like. I loved the outcome, and this is how it looks like. And if you want to recreate yours, you can go ahead. Thanks so much for watching. I tried it on, and I realized it was a little bit like it was really free. I can even gift it to somebody who is of maybe an XX large or XXL size. And that is it, guys.